Welcome to the club. My name is John, and I will be your host for this evening's meeting. In our last meeting, I was introducing everybody to the IRS free file for your federal income taxes. The free file is now open, and the two companies that are partnering that I demoed on the last meeting with their websites are now open. I have already gone in and I selected using the questionnaire option. There's a step-by-step questions and there's a manually. So I'm using the questions and it's basically answering all the questions. I like that because in the future, you never know. You may have dependents or you may have a military service and it asks you all those kind of questions. So as you go through these, someone that you know may qualify and be a good candidate to use it. But anyway, I'm up to the point where I'm actually waiting on the W-2s to come in so that I can go in and update the dollar amounts that I earned this year. So I'm pretty much good on that. And I've got my Schedule Cs. I got to tally up my business receipts and expense reports, and then I'll just wait on the 1099 INTs to come in from my high yield savings account. They should be able to send me one with all of the accounts on there and the total amount, which I'm proud to say was $2,100 last year in interest. And I did not forecast that at all. So that's a big boost to the investments accounts. So I just wanted to recap that. But in this presentation, we're going to take a step back and we're going to look at what a lot of the successful retirees here on YouTube are using, and it's the bucket system. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into it. And the bucket system, the way I'm going to explain it, is how I have it set up so I can access cash in the way I've been using it over a period of time. There have been times that I've needed to get money out of these accounts. There have been transactions where I, as an individual stock owner, I have sold stocks and had to pay the capital gains on. So I'm going to explain that from a do-it-yourself investor here shortly. So I'm going to get ready for the presentation. It's I made it very, very nice and pleasant to look at. So I hope you enjoy it. This is John, and you are with the Retiring Club. Okay, folks. So here it is, the bucket system for growth and withdrawal. So primarily as retirees, we're looking for growth. Um, we're working, we've got our plans for the future, and we're looking to grow our money, and we also need the ability to withdraw it. Typically, once you set your plan up, you're going to have targeted investments. So we're going to hop right into it. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So what I have here is this is a cash box here or your cash bucket. This is where you're going to put money that you're going to need in the short term. So here, if most of us have a savings account, we got it with our bank just in case we need to cover a check or have some money on hand to get from the ATM. It's paying about 0.01% typically. Next, we move into our money markets, and these are now have in some cases they're termed high yield savings account, but they still fall under the money market. There are restrictions on how many withdrawals you can make from these accounts within a month, and the ones that pay the highest interest are the online banks. So I have VO Bank at 4.46. You've got E-Trade Premium Savings at 4.0. You got Ally Bank at 3.8. Marcus with his Goldman Sachs at 3.9. And your CDs are at various rates, and you can get them just about all over the place. Income from these accounts in the form of interest is taxable. You heard me talking about the 1099. Well, from the VO Bank, you're going to get one this year. The E Trade Premium Savings, I had some money that was not invested in one of the Roth accounts, I've already paid taxes on all this money in this cash bucket. You can go in and get it and do whatever you want with it once you have this set up. A lot of the retirees have their cash box or their cash bucket, and they transfer money in quarterly, monthly, or they just do whatever they want with it to pay the bills because they're retired. They don't have a check coming in. And this is where they park their money in, I call it the cash box or cash bucket. And as someone who's still working, I still operate in this mode because when I retire, I'm going to need to pull some money out that is already have the taxes on it. I don't have to pay interest on it. Um, Based on it being in a long-term investment, talking about the capital gains and things like that. It's just like you going to the bank, putting money in there. Now you go, you need it for whatever reason. So this is your cash box. And that's why I came up with this particular image right there for you to park your money. Now, as a new investor, you may not necessarily want to start investing in shares or in the stock market. You might want to build this up. And this is what Dave Ramsey is always talking about. You want to have 3 months worth of full coverage of all your bills in case you get let go. Okay. Or 6 months. In my case, I got spooked and I saved up for 2 years and I never had to use it. So that cash box that I have, which is right here, is now a mortgage payoff. So it doubles. If I never use it, it's going towards a mortgage. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. The next slide is your income bucket. So as you are working, you may decide that with some of your after tax money, and I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're already investing from the long term. You've got your cash bucket together, and all of a sudden you pay off that car note, and you say, maybe I'll just take the money I was paying on that car note and I'll invest it in the stock market. Well, you want to go with this type of brokerage account. It's already has the money. You've already paid taxes on it. You can go with individual stocks. You can go with the electronically traded fund, and they can track anything. It could be the utilities, it could be energy, it could be something comparable to QQQ, all the new AI technology companies, or everybody's favorite, S&P 500. So you could do that, and that's with money that already has the taxes on it. You've got your mutual funds right here. Early in my career saving money, when I was talking about how I needed a new car, that's what I did. I got a mutual fund in telecommunication. It was on a brokerage account. I put money in it. I never did make any capital gains on it, so I didn't have to worry about it. And I got my money out. I broke even, but I put it in a mutual fund and it was in a brokerage account. And the annuity guy, I've been watching him lately. So I'm going to add in annuities on here because annuities can guarantee an income for you either before you go in retirement or after you're in retirement. You might want to say, hey, I'm going to give you this $500,000. And for the next 5 years, I want you to give me a guaranteed check no matter what happens in the market for 5 years. Then after that, maybe they'll release the money. The annuity guy is going to know how this could work as an income. I'm not going to go too far in it because I'm not an expert, but I thought I would add it in because I know people who are using this as an income stream in retirement and they're in my family. All right, we're going to keep going on. Look at your growth bucket here. This is typically going to be your pre-tax account. Look at all those buckets there, filled with money. So we're going to start off with your individual retirement account. Those are the IRAs. You can open up one anytime you want on your own. If you're a construction worker, you're getting checks and you want to do your own retirement, you can open up your own IRA. And all you got to do is wire your money in how much ever you want to put in whenever you're ready. This is something anybody can do. You do not have to wait until the uh, the waiting period that some companies have, and any gains on it are your gains, and they're all pre-tax. The employer sponsored is typically your 401k and the 403 for nonprofits. I'm also going to add in pensions if you're lucky to have one. I know that one of our distinguished retirees has pensions. He had to wait until he hit certain ages and he is 100% invested, and he can start pulling that money out, and it would save him from having to draw down on these other investment accounts, pensions. So I've added that in because some guys do have it. If you have one, keep track of them, please. Get your benefits calculation, make sure they got your addresses, and you want to keep track of those. So here we go. This is a growth bucket. Typically, here, you want to keep your money coming out of your check. You don't want to look at it. You just want to do it year after year after year after year. And if you get any extra money or you leave a job, you want to open up this IRA and you take that money from the 401k and you can roll it right over into the IRA. Now, later on, when you get into like right around about 45 to that 55 years old, you want to keep some money in the 401k because it does have the rule of 55. With if you're with an employer and you lose your job and it's in the year you turn 55, you can start withdrawing out penalty free minus the 20% in taxes that they're going to take. So I would do a balance with the 401k or the 403b for the rule of 55, but I also would have the IRA, and I would move the money as I leave each employer because you don't know what's going to happen with those employers. I have six former employers that all went out of business, and I've had accounts with them all. I got my money out of 30 days after I left. I had that form. That was actually part of my exit. I had a form that I would fill out. And, originally I didn't know how to do it. But because I had a full service broker, the guy helped me, my account manager. Okay. So we're going to move on. Now, this one right here is, I call this money when you need it most bucket. This one right here, as you can see, you got all these different sources. This is your Roth IRA and your Roth 401k, save for the future with long-term gains of the stock market. Now, the best way I can explain this is you have an account, you put money in it. The money you put in, you can always withdraw. Unlike a savings account where we're going to give you this little bit of money, you actually take the money you put in and you invest it in different investment instruments. The investments do well. Your principal or base amount, say, let's use a number of like 5 grand, $5,000. You put it in there. 10 years from now, that 5,000 is now 15,000, and you want to buy a house and you need money for closing costs or something like that, you can get it out of the Roth, the base amount. So I like that. Access your deposit of money or principal amount when you need it, tax free. So what I have here is just a presentation of the buckets. You want to take a look at these, each piece of the investments and how they operate, and dive in it on your own. This is just an overview of a bucket system. So what a lot of the guys do, they let their money grow and they can take some of the profits. If you have a super duper good year and you see that that thing is up by $20,000 or it has $20,000 in capital gains, you don't have to reinvest the shares. You can let it go into what's called the sweep account or the cash account. And you can simply just withdraw it, transfer it into your bank account the first of the year. Take last year's gains, transfer them in the first of this year so that a whole year go by and you can deal with the taxes in the next year. And always try and take out just enough, if it's pre-tax, to match your standard deduction, which I covered in one of our sessions. So this is John, and you're at the club, and this is my presentation on the bucket system. Thanks a lot. and look for me in another meeting coming up soon. Thank you.